So there's this very famous professor that got up once at Harvard, and he did a study with his class. Very interesting guy, very out-of-the-box type of professor. He wanted to change it up on the group. You know, instead of just teaching them the classic philosophical questions and just getting boring, he wanted to try and experiment on the crowd. So he said to his class at the time, he said, I want to ask you guys a question. I want everyone in this room to turn from students right now into critiques. I want everyone to come and help me critique an author. Who's the author? They asked Shakespeare, Mark Twain, who are you gonna throw at us? I want you guys to come and critique the biggest author in the entire world. Who is that? God, the creator of the world. I want you guys to take out a pen and paper, every single person in the classroom, and I want you guys to give an honest, candid rating on what you would rate God if you had to give him a grade, A, B, C, D, right? What would you grade him on his performance in creating the world? So the students said, what an interesting question. They all got out their notepads, they took out their pen and paper, and each one of them started writing down a grade. The professor comes out and goes over the grades with the entire class, and he starts reading over the results, and he says, guys, 50% of you gave God an A. 25% gave God a C. The other 25% gave God a B. He said not one person in the class gave the answer I was looking for as a logical standpoint. So everyone's confused. A, B, C, like what was the professor looking for? He said, I give God an F minus if it's possible. An F. Everyone's like, why is this guy so negative? How would you give God an F? Why would you give him a fail? So one kid raises his hand and asks the professor, he says, Professor, okay, I get it, bad things happen. There's things in the world that are not the best. Sometimes we all have hard days. But why would you give him an F? Can't you see that there's good in life? Can't you see that God has created a beautiful world? There's sun, there's animals, we all could breathe, there's oxygen. There's all these beautiful things in the world. Why would you be so negative to give him an F? So he says, guys, I'm a professor. You have to look at everything from a perspective. Perspective means by God. We have to define what God is, and then we can give him a proper rating. He says, I agree with you guys. Did God do nice things? Of course he did. Did he create a beautiful world? He's like, I'm not denying it. But if you're God, the definition of God means that you have the power, the ability to do anything. The definition of God means, if you actually believe in what the actual defined version of what God is, it means you have the capability to do anything. You are not limited by anything, not by time, not by resources, by anything. So if God could do anything, right? He had the ability to create anything he wanted, to make our lives any way we wanted, and he made it anything else but perfect, then he gets an F. Because he could have made it the best thing in the world. He didn't have to make cancer. He didn't have to make corona. He didn't have to make divorce. He didn't have to make emotional pain. So if he created all those things and he could have done anything, then he gets an F. So now we have to look at this class and we have to zoom out and ask ourselves a question. Is the professor right or wrong? So we can break it down like this. Either A, number one, we have 3 doors to go through once we understand this class. Number one, God does not exist. God does not exist. Why do bad things happen? Why is the world filled with such disasters and such sad things going on? Why? Because God does not exist, The Big Bang Theory is correct. All the scientists are right. There was an explosion of the universe, chemical imbalance, and the world is created. That's door number one, right? Could make sense. Door number two, God does exist, but he's evil and he wants to torture us. That's a viable option. We have to put that on the table. What's door number three? Door number three means God exists, right? God is not evil, but the purpose of life has to be different than what we think it is. Because when he asked that classroom, and you're asking a bunch of secular students, what do you think you give God a rating for? You're asking them essentially, what do you rate God on creating the world and what you think it's for? And what do we all imagine the purpose of life is? What is everyone going to tell me? To be happy, to enjoy life, to have a good time. So according to that, if he's right, if your purpose of life is to have a good time and to enjoy, then you get an F, not an F, you get an F minus. I'll give you guys an example of what he was trying to say. Imagine me, right? I'm a rabbi, right? Every rabbi in the world, you want to do anything, you're going to need a fundraise. So imagine a billionaire calls me up from Manhattan and he says, listen, I love your class. I was so blown away. I just sold my entire firm. I made a couple $1 billion. I want you to fly down to Manhattan, you, your family. I'm going to put you in a hotel. I have such a big gift to give you. I'm going to blow you away. You're going to be able to do outreach for the rest of your life. You're not going to have to worry about it. You're not going to have to ask anyone else for the rest of your life. So, okay, sounds great. I get me, my wife, my 2 kids. We fly all the way to New York. We go all the way there. We get there to the top floor in Manhattan. I see the secretary. The secretary looks at me and says, you know, Mr. Wolf will be with you in a few minutes. Come sit down in the waiting room. I'm waiting there all patiently. I'm so excited. How much money is this guy going to give me? I start planning ideas in my head. What am I going to be able to do? What this billionaire is going to hand to me? The amount of resources and stuff that I'll be able to attain. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited. I'm sitting there. I'm ecstatic. I get to the meeting with Mr. Wolf. He's sitting there with a bunch of executives. He kicks them all out of the room. He says, listen, the special rabbi from LA flew in to see me. This is the moment I've been waiting for. More important than all my meetings, clears his schedule. He's sitting with me, he pours some whiskey. We're laughing, talking to me, how much he loves what I'm doing. And he hands me an envelope and he says, Rabbi, this is for you. I wish you all the best. Just know I'm behind you, whatever you need. I go home. He says, don't open it until you get home. I say, okay. I fly back to LA, me, my wife, and kids. I'm so excited. I'm staying up the whole night. I get up there and I open the envelope, and what's inside? One George Washington. $1 is sitting in the envelope. What rating would I give this billionaire? He's a good guy. He gave me tzedakah. He gave me the charity that I needed. It's very nice. But if he's a billionaire, he could have given me anything. This guy had so much money that he knows what to do with. He flew me all the way down there, got me all hyped up to give me what, $1? That's what God gives us. If that's what you think life is to be about, if you're here to be happy in life, and you just think it's about enjoying and having a good time and having fun, that's fine. I'm not here to change that purpose. But then you're forced to answer this question. You either have to come to the conclusion that either A, God does not exist, B, he does exist and he's evil, because if I'm here to have a good time, this place is a lot of bad things happen and a lot of hard things happen in order to have a good time. Third door, which is what I like to believe and I like to go into tonight and try to, hopefully we can learn this together. No, God does exist, but maybe the purpose is a little different than we think it might be. So let's try to do door number 3. So if you want to actually begin to actually imagine for yourself, what does God want from us? If we look in the Torah and you ask any rabbi, what is the purpose of life? There's one answer. The purpose of life, believe it or not, according to God, is one thing, is in order to get the ultimate happiness. God put us in this world in order to give us the ultimate happiness. How does that make any sense according to what I just said? If you just told me that God created the world and if you're here to have a good time, and you're going to have a miserable experience because of the way God set up the world, and that's why we gave him an F. How can you tell me in the same sentence that the purpose of life, according to God, the way he structured the world, is to have the ultimate happiness? How do we reconcile the two? It's a paradox. It doesn't make sense. So the only way we can even try to answer this question, we have to go a step deeper and understand, what is happiness? Every single person sitting here, every single person sitting on Beverly Drive, everyone in LA, everyone in the entire world is looking for the same thing. We are all living life to be happy. That is what the Torah wants for you. The Torah wants you to live the happiest life possible. But again, if you're going to live life to be happy and enjoy and have a good time and fun, then God gets an F, because why did he make it so hard? Is anyone sitting here, I'm asking, anyone sitting in the crowd, please raise your hand. Anyone here doesn't have a challenge or a problem or something hard that they have to go through in life? I haven't met that person. I've given this class many times. I wait to meet that person. So why would God, if he could do anything and give us the ultimate good, why would he do this to us? So let's think about it. What is real happiness? God wants to give us the ultimate happiness. So let's think about it. The biggest lie that the world tries to tell us, especially right where we're standing, LA, Beverly Hills, the biggest lie in the world is that having fun is happiness. There's not one place in the entire Torah, you can go through every single word, every single portion of the Torah, there's not one word that equates to fun. Not one word equals fun. You know why? Because fun doesn't equal happiness. The Torah wants to give you, not to be happy, it wants you to be the happiest person in the world. It wants you to get the ultimate happiness. That's the point of life. The whole point of God putting us in this world is to become the happiest person ever. But there's no word of fun. You know why? Because in life, if we really take a close look, which I'll try to do now, in life, fun does not equate happiness. How many of us go out, you have a good time? Has anyone ever went out with a nice dinner, you had a great steak? Does anyone still feel good off the steak they had? Is anyone still satisfied from that nice dinner they had? Is anyone still satisfied from that great movie they watched? You went out on your first date, you're infatuated with a girl, you're still having that feeling? Has anyone ever had a physical feeling that's actually stayed on with them? Every single thing that you've experienced physically has come and it is gone.
That's why it's a physical pleasure. Physical pleasures are fun. They feel good in the moment. But feeling good in the moment does not define you as a happy person. Feeling good in the moment says you are happy at that moment. There's nothing wrong with having fun. I like to go out with my wife, vacation, have a good time. There's nothing wrong with it. Torah doesn't tell you not to do it, but it says if you want to be happy, that can't be the goal. That can't be the focus, because I guarantee it. You'll be happy in the moment, you have fun, but we all know deep down, the fleeting moments we have when you actually try to go after fun things all the time, you get to a level of emptiness. You get to a level where there has to be more. How can I prove it to you? Let's go in a little deeper. Every single time I show up to Ralph's or any single supermarket, why is it that every single celebrity is doing the craziest type of drugs? Why is it that every single celebrity that we've all grown up with in LA has to go and do the craziest things? Fly to Japan, fly and find God and Buddha and whatever. Why does that have to happen? Why is Macaulay Culkin, the kid from Home Alone, doing heroin at 33? What went wrong? What happened? What didn't work out for him? He had everything. The prettiest girls, all the money in the world, all the fame, everyone's giving him attention. He has no low self-esteem. He has every single thing a kid can want. Why does that kid feel empty? Why does he need to shoot heroin in his forearm? What happened? What's going wrong? Because when you have all the physical pleasures in this world, you reach a state of emptiness. Because there's only a state that the physical pleasure can take you. And that's why celebrities are the best example of this, because they get exposed to the ultimate physical pleasures on the highest level at the earliest ages. So when they're exposed to it, you could see very clearly from that when you get all the physical stuff, when you feel good, you get drunk. I didn't say you're not happy in the moment. I'm not going to argue with anyone. Anyone says, Rabbi, I was much happier with you at the party. I'm not arguing at the party. But in life, that doesn't define you as a happy person. You're happy in the moment. So the first thing the Torah is telling you, if you're looking for fun, that means temporary happiness moments. They're fleeting. They're going to come and they're going to go. That doesn't make you a happy person. If someone's rich because someone gives them money at night and then they have it one week and it's gone the next week, we don't call that person a wealthy person. We call that person a person that was wealthy in the moment, then he's not. A wealthy person is someone that has something. It's who they are. It defines them. If you want to be happy, true happy, we got to follow what the Torah is trying to tell us, which is that real happiness comes. It's not from physical things. Physical things feel good. They come and they go. And I'll even just go a little more just to bring this out a little more. Why is it, if you ever thought about it, right? We're sitting right now in Beverly Hills. I know someone lives a few blocks away. He's worth probably over $200 million. Why is it this guy still needs to work? He sells a very successful fabric company. He's very successful in everything he does. I've never understood it. Sometimes I want to just turn to him and say, you have so much money you don't know what to do with. Why don't you just quit? Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with money. Go make a lot of money. I'm just saying once you have $200 million, go buy a jet, go buy a yacht, quit your job and go on vacation, go to Cancun for the rest of your life. I want to tell them, just finish it and go. Why can't they stop? You ever thought about that? You see someone that's so wealthy. Why don't they stop working? Why are they always in the office? Why would they neglect their kids to make that next $1 million? It's not because they don't have food to eat, I promise you. It's not because they can't get whatever they want. So what is it? What is it in the money? Why do they need more? Why is it that Donald Trump's still running for president? The guy won already. He's every single thing physical that a man can have, he's got it. Beautiful women, all the money in the world, all the fame. He became the president of the United States. Why does this guy feel a need to still run for president? What is he missing in his life? What does he not have? That's what I just want us to all think about. What do these people not have? Why do people need to work when they have all the money? For what? Because they need to buy another shopping center? For what? For who? What's it for? So the first thing we need to understand, if you're chasing physicality, if you're chasing money, you're chasing all these things as a goal in and of itself, again, everything I said, there's nothing wrong with it. In the right amount, there's nothing wrong with it. But if that becomes your goal, that becomes a purpose in and of itself, you're heading for the wrong direction. And we'll just say one more topic on this. If you ever think about it, someone told me a definition of something that we all think, but it's 100% one big misconception. Has anyone ever Googled or actually thought about what the definition of a midlife crisis is? I'm sure we've all heard of the term growing up, right? You know people that have gone through a midlife crisis. So I thought originally, right, what's a midlife crisis? Midlife crisis means someone that is badbacht, that is living the worst life, has no money, maybe got divorced, maybe never got married, is a loser in his friends, never had a community, whatever it is. And this guy's having a midlife crisis. He hits anywhere from 35 to 60, and his life is whatever. He's not feeling good about himself. Someone once taught me midlife crisis is not a person that feels that they don't have anything in life. No. Midlife crisis actually is the opposite. Midlife crisis is a person that actually has everything. Midlife crisis could be defining a person that is very successful, that has a family, that has everything they want, and the person is depressed inside. Why? Why does he get to 35 or 40 and he's missing it? What's the midlife crisis? This guy has everything. You know why? Because that person comes to a realization that we're discussing right now that, yes, I have $200 million, I have a family, everything, but now what? What's missing? What's more? What do I need more than this? Midlife crisis means you have everything and there's something missing. You become like that celebrity that's just looking for something else. The next drug, the next craziest thing, the next thing that excites themselves. Why? What's missing? The answer is because fun does not make you happy. I really urge everyone. I once got sent this video. It's probably the best proof for what I'm saying. If anyone ever heard of Dan Bilzerian, right? Cool guy, made a lot of money playing poker, also living a very lavish lifestyle, a house in Bel Air, everything. Someone sent me a video. You can YouTube it. The guy says how he has the best foods, the best women, the best times, the best parties, but he's not happy. And it doesn't satisfy him because he says every single time that he's got the best food, he's like, I need something better. Every time I've been with the most beautiful woman, I need something more. Every single thing that I've had, there needs to be more, and there isn't. That's the first thing we need to make clear in our minds. Physicality is limited. It's finite. You reach a limit. You want to know the next time why you see a celebrity and their life is in shambles? Because they have everything and it's not enough. Because fun does not create happiness. Fun feels good in the moment. There's nothing wrong with fun. But if you make that the goal of your life, to make a lot of money and have fun, you're going to be that guy chasing his tail looking for the next thing and it doesn't exist. And what's hiding behind that door is something called depression, because you come to a wall and you say there's nothing past this. So the first thing we have to make absolutely clear is to realize that fun is not happiness. And I know how tempting it looks to walk outside this place and go out there into the world and you start seeing all these nice things and nice cars and nice houses. And I told you again, go buy a nice house, go get a beautiful spouse, have the most beautiful wedding. There's nothing wrong with that. I want it too. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't make that the goal of your life. If you make that the goal, you'll end up like all those people outside, the other 8 billion people in the world that don't know what we're trying to answer tonight. They don't know what real happiness is. They have to go sit there and go take drugs. I have a friend that works at Rite Aid here in Beverly Hills. He told me in last summer, one of the most common sell drugs was antidepressant. Why? Because when you don't have purpose, if you don't know what you're living for, and you're always there having fun and getting drunk and looking for the next best thing and just looking and trying to fill the time, and you finally get to that realization where you realize that no matter how much money you have, no matter how much power you have, no matter how much people love you, once you hit 120, which I hope we all live to 120, you're going down in the grave. It's all going to go down with you. If that's what you think you're living life for, just to live life, the time's going to fleet you by, think about that. That's what a midlife crisis is. That's what depression looks like. I'm not here to talk about sadness. I'm here to talk about the opposite. I just want to be so clear that when you want to really, really understand what real happiness is, which is exactly what the Torah wants us to talk about, you have to recognize that fun and what all those idiots out there are trying to convince you what it is in the movies and everything is just a waste of time. They want you to be depressed and empty with them. If that's what convinces you, if that's what looks good, if you watch the Kardashians and all these shows and they're living the life and you really think that's happiness, go for it. But you're Jewish and God is saying, guys, I have the answer for you. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to fool everyone and make a life that's so empty but make it look good. I'll give you the ultimate happiness. You just have to follow me how to do it. You have to trust me. If you focus on what it is, you will live the best life possible. That's all the Torah is trying to tell you. That's it. What's the purpose of life of being a Jew? We're all blessed to be Jews. There's 15 million of us in the world. What does God want from us? To live life on the highest level. That's it. So how do we do it? I want to talk about it in a moment. But first thing we got to make absolutely clear, if you're chasing a life of fun, you guys can have fun, have parties, go enjoy. If that's your goal, if that's where you're heading in the wrong direction. You're heading to an empty hole that eventually you'll get there and it's going to look really good and people can make it look as good as they want. Eventually you get there and you see how empty it is. So now I want to just talk about quickly, what does the Torah define as happiness? Like I just said, the Torah does not have one word in it that defines as the word fun. Not that you can't have it, but you can't make that the definition of having the ultimate happiness. According to the Torah, the word that's used for attaining ultimate happiness, which is our ultimate purpose in life, is one word. One word in Hebrew, it's called shalemut. The shorish of that word is shalem, means to be filled. What is the definition of ultimate happiness? You want to hear it? This applies to every person walking on the planet. They can argue with the Torah and all the rabbis as long as they want, or eventually they all come to the same agreement that we made. The purpose of life, to get the ultimate happiness, is attained by doing one thing. Shalem means to be fulfilled, success. Success defines happiness. You want to know why that guy's working when he's worth $200 million? Because he's understood that the happiness is not the money he has in the bank. The happiness is working hard. Fulfillment is what makes you happy. Anytime you've worked hard on anything in your life, that working hard is what makes you happy. I'll give you guys an example. Let's make this a little practical, right? This is a little bit crazy idea. Just follow me in the story, yeah? Imagine for 1 second, I told you, 2 aliens, right, released on CNN. 2 aliens land in a backyard in Las Vegas, yeah? These 2 aliens come on Vegas, or UFO out of Area 51, took the wrong turn and crashed in some backyard, right? Next thing you know, these 2 aliens are walking around the Vegas Strip. They see everything. They don't know what life's about. They're like, wow, our thing crashed. It's unfortunate. It's going to take us about 24 hours to get the ship up and running. But you know what? We've always been scratching ourselves to come see this place called Earth. What is Earth? What does it attain? Let's go see it. So they go to Vegas. I'm sure we've all went. They go to the Vegas Strip. They see people drinking, having a good time. They're gambling. They're having the best dinners. They're going to the craziest hotels. They see all the luxuries of the world. They say, wow, what an amazing place to land on planet Earth. This place, we see all the goodness and fun and everything. Then they bump into a random guy. They say, hey, you know, we're 2 aliens. We don't understand anything. Can you just explain to us like how the system of life works? The guy goes, sure. So he goes, this is a casino. This is the dinner. This is like people drinking. This is people getting married, right? And he's explaining every little thing. Then they go by and they see this thing called jail. So they see in the jail, they see people locked up. They're crying. They're screaming. They say, what's going on? And the guy explains it to them. He says, listen, guys. He said, these guys, you know, we don't want them to be unhappy, but they, you know, they didn't respect the law here in America, whatever. We have this thing that it's called the system. And if you don't follow the law, then, you know, the world's going to fall. We're going to lock them up. The aliens say, listen, it's hard, but we understand. It makes sense. We have something similar on our planet. So then they say, okay, the guy says, guys, I need 1 hour, the trainer. You guys go run around. I'll meet you guys in an hour. Whatever you see, I'll explain to you after. Next thing you know, the 2 aliens arrive at this place off the Vegas Strip, a few blocks away, called the GYN. They come to this place called the GYN. They enter the doors, and all of a sudden, they come inside, and they see this guy with a 200-pound piece of metal in his mouth. He's going, ah, he's screaming, pulling it up on his hand, and he's in so much pain. His nerves are popping out. Then they look over to the left. They see a lady running on the treadmill. She's sweating so hard. Her face is red. She looks like she's about to die. Next thing you know, the alien 1 grabs alien 2, and he says, yo, we got to get out of here. I don't know what these guys did. I know the jail was bad, but this place called the gym is terrible. This GYM, I don't want anything to do with it. We got to get out before they keep us in here. They run as fast as they can. They go out. They bump in their friend Jeff, the trainer, and they say, yo, we want to get back. He says, guys, what happened? What did you see? He thought maybe, you know, they saw a gang or something. He's like, listen, Vegas looked good. Everything was fantastic. We saw the jail was a little hard to understand, but we got it. But this place called the GYN, that I cannot fathom. It don't make sense to me. Don't get us stuck there. He says, are you guys talking about the gym? And he goes, yeah. He said, you guys went to the gym? Like, why are you guys bugging out? Like, why are you guys freaking out? And he says, what do you mean? Jeff, do you not see what's going on in the gym? Do you not see what they're doing? They're torturing the people there. He said, guys, you misunderstood something. Come, let's go back there. Takes them back to the gym. He says, guys, every single person inside this room is paying to be here. And both the aliens take a step and they go, what? Every single person here is paying to be here? They're paying themselves to be tortured? He goes, yes, they're paying, but they're not paying obviously to get tortured. They're paying because there's a perspective that you guys are missing. Let me fill you in. And the 2 aliens go, how does this make any sense? You see that guy you were pointing at? The guy who his veins are popping out, he's in so much pain. You want to know why he's in so much pain? You know what it is? He loves it. Come, let's interview him. The guy finished the dumbbells. They say, yo, how much pain were you in? How much torture was that? The guy says, you know, it's painful in the moment, but I love it. I love it. They go, how do you love it? He says, because not only do I know that I'm creating a result, that I'm going to be bigger on the weekends when I walk out, I take a shower and I see my results, but even in the moment, even in the pain, I'm able to come to an understanding that every single strength, every single push I'm going through is a feeling of overcoming a challenge, and that feeling of success. He goes, listen, aliens, I don't know what you guys experience on your planet. This is the best feeling you can have. And that's where the 2 aliens get back on their spaceship and they go back and they come to an understanding from this gym that we could apply to our lives. Happiness is defined by one thing, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Happiness is defined by success. Every single time you've ever felt happy in your life is attached to a feeling of success. Anything you've ever done in your life is because it makes you feel good to chase that thing, because you believe there's success there. You feel a certain feeling of fulfillment there. And anytime you've ever chased that moment or feeling, that's when you felt happy. Whether it was making money, whether it was getting the person you wanted to go out with your whole life, whatever it may have been, you want to fix a relationship, whatever challenge you have gone through, the feeling of going through the chase, the feeling of working hard, that is what gave you the feeling of happiness. And that's what each and every one of us in our lives, that's what the real happiness is. If you want to reach the ultimate level of fulfillment, you want to get to a stage where you actually feel good, where you're actually a happy person, it comes down to one thing, and that idea is working hard. Working hard is what brings a person to a real state of happiness. And I'm just going to give you guys a few examples, and I'm going to try to finish with this. You got to just look at what the Torah is telling us to do. What is the Torah telling us to do? If you pay attention to the Torah, every single thing that it's telling us, some things need more explanation, some things are less, but every single thing in the Torah is in order to get you to feel the ultimate fulfillment of success, to get you that feeling. It's trying to fill up your life with everything in order to be happy. I'll give you guys one small example. Right now we're at Torah and Tequila, right? Everyone's enjoying, first of all, beautiful event, Chazaka Baruch, but everyone before the event, right? We can go have a glass of tequila. I had one myself, it's great. But you know what? The Torah tells you, you can either just drink a couple liquids and put them in your body, or you can make a prayer. A small prayer takes you 15 seconds, and you can thank the creator of the world for giving you the tequila. You can make that stupid cup of tequila you have into something physical, and you can turn it spiritual. You can take your entire life and live it on one dimension of physicality, or you can bring God into your life and make everything two-dimensional, bring spirituality into everything, and add so much meaning to your life. You can wake up every single day and go through an entire day like everyone else, or you can go through a day of meaning, of purpose. If a person has prayer in their life, think about it. Imagine every time you go through something, you can talk to the creator of the world. You have someone to speak to. You have God upstairs listening to you. You can talk to him. Imagine I told you that every single challenge in your life, every single problem that each and every one of us all have here, imagine I told you there's a reason for every single one. I can't explain it now in 45 minutes, but if I told you that, God willing, in future classes, imagine you knew what the purpose of pain was. Instead of saying, yo, I got in a car accident, I broke up with my girlfriend, it didn't work out, I lost money, God screwed me over, life is a mess, and like the rest of the people out there, you gotta go take a few shots to wash it all away. Imagine I told you there was a purpose to the pain. Every single thing that happened, there's a reason for it. And it's there to build you, to give you meaning in your life. Every single time you have food, you could just wash down some food and just, again, meaningless life. Or you can have it and add spirituality to it and be 10 times happier because you've now just elevated your life. You've added so much meaning and purpose to your life. Torah is telling you, if you want to be happy, even if you don't want to listen to anything I'm saying right now, you want to be happy in life, go after things that are successful. Go after things that are actually meaningful, that are hard. The lady standing outside of Ralph's collecting for some charity, even if she's a non-Jewish person, is happier than most people. You know why? Because she's chasing something meaningful. She's chasing something spiritual. Anyone that brings any spirituality in their life, anyone that brings anything that takes work, that's what makes happiness. Donald Trump is not happy when he became the president. Donald Trump was happy that he had to work hard to become it. Every single time you've been happy, it's not the fact that you got what you wanted, it's that you worked hard for it. Happiness is the journey, it's not the destination. That's what the Torah is trying to teach us. Happiness is not a destination where you get to and you say, okay, now I'm happy. Happiness is a journey of life. The happiest people are the people that are on a journey working hard at things. And every single thing sitting there in the Torah that's hard to understand, every single one of those things is telling you how you can enjoy the journey the best way possible. Challenges, relationships. Look at what the Torah is telling us. Let's do a few examples and we'll finish with this. The Torah tells you to get married. You guys tell me, how many times does it feel good to go out and have a good time and have a fling? Great, yeah, again, I told you it's fun. There's nothing wrong with fun. Go as much fun as you want. But you want to be really happy? Go look at someone that's married for a long time. Go look at someone that has a beautiful relationship. Someone that's celebrating their 20-year anniversary. The couple next to them might be having a lot more fun that night, but I promise you that couple with a 20-year anniversary is feeling a much more intense, real, deeper level of happiness because they've worked on a relationship. Having kids is the biggest pain in the world, and anyone that tells you otherwise is lying. Having kids is hard, but it's the deepest level of pleasure you can ask any parent. No matter how many diapers you have to change or the kids are screaming or what it does, having children will make you the happiest thing. Seeing your version of yourself grow up and nurturing them and building them, that's what the Torah is telling you to do. The Torah is giving you things that are hard to work on, but through them, you're going to build the most beautiful life, getting married, having a family, having Shabbat. What is Shabbat? What is it? Again, we can give a whole 2 hours on Shabbat just to touch on it. Shabbat is saying, guys, you go through the whole world and you're just living through this cycle and cycle. I need you to come to one day of the week and just stop. Stop everything you're doing. Just pause everything and reflect on your life. Because when you stop and you pause and you reflect on your life, you get to come and see what life's all about. How many of us go and do such stupid things during the week? And if only we had one day where we could pause the world, all your decisions could be so much better. You can live life so much more quality. You can realize the person I'm dating is terrible for me. You can realize that the business that I'm doing is terrible. The way I'm acting is terrible. Shabbat is the one place that Hashem is showing you that if you want to live the most meaningful life, which is working through things and building yourself and doing meaningful things, you need one day to reflect. You need that one day to continue to grow and to continue to build. You can look at it as, oh, these stupid rabbis told us not to use our phone for 25 hours. Or you can look at it as, no, I have 25 hours to stop and cut myself off from the rest of the world and think, I'm living for a deeper purpose. I'm living here to become a bigger, better person. I'm living here to live a fulfilled life, not just have a life of fun. That's for everyone else, not for us. I'm here to get the ultimate happiness. I need that one day to reflect. I'll give you one other example. I see there's a lot of people here. My bracha is everyone here should find the right spouse at the right time and get married very soon. But I want to just share one concept we have in the Torah that I think is just very practical and is something that, you know, it took Reader's Digest and all these other idiot magazines like hundreds of years to figure out, but we had it years ago. There's this thing in the Torah called Nita. I'd like to introduce everyone to it. Nita is the time where a woman is menstruating. It's when she gets her period. A man cannot touch his wife during that time. He can't be with her. They can't have relations. They can't touch each other. People might look at me right now and say, or these rabbis and say, what kind of stupid thing is that to tell me that I can't be with my wife or I can't touch my husband when we go on a date? But if you guys think about it for 1 second, how many divorces do you think are going on in California? How many terrible relations do we have? How many people are cheating on their spouse? How many people are thinking about someone else when they're being with their spouse? Let's be honest for a second. You know why that's happening? Because when you have too much of something, you turn it into fun. When you're having fun, like Judaism tells us, there is no word for fun because fun will lead you to depression. It'll lead you to eventually saying, I'm tired of my spouse, whether the guy or the girl, it doesn't matter. Because anything too much of it, you get sick of it. I've used it. I've got my full thing. Great, it's physical, it's fun. I've lasted it. Anything that you've experienced, be honest, anything physical has an expiration date. Same thing with a spouse. If you have too much intimacy, you're having too much good time together, fine, you burn out. It becomes dry, it becomes whatever. Next thing you know, you have these magazines saying, oh, you know what? We came to this fascinating explanation that it would be good to divide yourselves for a few days. It adds some spice to the relationship. This is what the rabbis already figured out. The rabbis are giving us the tools. They might not seem easy. They might not make sense. You might need a rabbi to help you guide you through it, which you have the best ones in the world right here. But every single thing could be explained. And every single thing is meant to add value and meaning and purpose to your life. And I'm telling you guys, it might seem a little hard, it might seem difficult, but even if you try a little bit, you'll start to see how much happier you will be, how much more meaning it will add. I'll finish with this. I wanted to say one thing before that. Judaism is not an all or nothing. This is a big thing that I don't know how many people have told me. Everyone thinks that, okay, if I'm Jewish, that means I have to keep Shabbat, to become right. That's not what it means at all. That's not what we have to do. What we have to understand here tonight, what we have to do is understand, Judaism means you need to chase, there's something you need to do. It's not Shabbat, it's not combing your hair, all those things God wants you to do, but that's not what the need we're trying to bring out tonight. What you need to do is you need to live a meaningful life. That the Torah commands you. Before it tells you to do any of the commandments, before the 10 commandments, there's one God is saying, I created you guys to be my chosen nation. I need you guys to live a meaningful life. God is not giving you the option to live like these other people out there. God does not want you to reach the midlife crisis and get on the antidepressants. God wants you to reach the ultimate happiness that you're commanded to do. That's what he wants you to do. So that being said, it doesn't mean you have to take on all the commandments and take upon all the mitzvot in the Torah. No, that you do have God in your life. And God in your life can mean as simple, talk to him. Even a minute a day, talk to God. Bring God in your life. Add prayer into your life. Make one blessing a month. Doesn't matter on what. You're having food next time and all your friends are just going and they're having the food. Bring God into the dinner table. I promise you'll feel so much better than everyone else having dinner. Because they're having physicality and you're on a different level. You're having spirituality. Every single other person chasing whatever, and that, say to yourself, I'm going to become a better person. Because that's what the Torah wants me to do. And when I'm chasing becoming a better person, if that's on my goal, to work on myself, whether it's ego, whether it's my self-confidence, whether it's being honest in business, whatever it is, it might be harder. But when you're chasing those things, you're chasing spirituality, you're bringing God into your life. You're bringing real happiness in your life. So are you commanded to keep the whole Torah in one day? No, that's not what we're saying. But you're commanded by God to be the happiest person on the planet. And the only way to be the happiest person is by chasing what the Torah is telling us, which is meaningful pleasure, meaningful happiness, which is adding spirituality in everything. That you have to do. And it's so simple. A prayer, a blessing, Shabbat, take 5 minutes. It's too hard to keep Shabbat. Don't worry about it right now. Take 5 minutes out of the 24 hours on Saturday, and don't call it Saturday. Call it Shabbat and say, for these 5 minutes, I'm going to just stop and think how I can become a better person. How I can improve my relationships. How can I add more meaning to my life? How can I become more of an honest person? Everyone at the table is talking bad about that person. I'm going to take 5 minutes on Shabbat to reflect how next week I'm going to be a little bit better, and I don't need to be the one gossiping about them. That's what the Torah is commanding you to do, and I promise you, if you follow that, you will live a happier, more meaningful life. I'll finish with just a story. I have a rabbi of mine in Israel, and I always asked him, I said, Rabbi, can you prove to me that Olam Haba exists? I said, can you prove it that, when Jews die, obviously I know this is again another class, but I'm touching on it, that we believe in the afterlife? Can you prove it to me? Can you prove to me for sure? Can you prove to me in science that the Torah is true and God is true, and therefore every time I do Shabbat and every time I'm kosher and every time I do what God wants me to do, can you please prove to me somewhere that if I do it, I'm going to be guaranteed Olam Haba? He says, I can't prove it to you, but I can tell you one thing. And I'm telling you this line my rabbi told me changed my life 10 years ago forever. The rabbi told me the following words. He's sitting there on a balcony in Israel. His name is Rabbi Yudkowsky. He looks at me and he says, you know why I know the next world is real? You know how I know there's an Olam Haba and an afterlife, and that if you are close to God, you're going to live in the afterlife? Because I don't need it to be true. It took me 3 years to understand what this rabbi told me. It sounds very simple. He said, I don't need the next world of pleasure and getting gifts to be true. That's how I know it's real. Every religion is guaranteeing you, if you blow yourself up on a flight, if you go out and do all these things, you're going to get heaven in heaven, you're going to live a miserable life, you're going to be the worst, whatever, you're going to have to put a bomb on yourself, but next thing you know, you're sitting there with Buddha and it's the best thing ever, or you're going to have to live this whatever life of just craziness through all these crazy rituals, but don't worry, you can get the pleasure. Judaism is saying you missed it. Judaism is saying you want the best life, you don't have to wait for the next world. Forget about it. You want to live the best life. If you have it here, I promise you, you're going to know what's true over there. Because if you have it here, you're going to realize how happy you are. My rabbi lives in a very small house with a lot of kids. His life is not any easier than ours. He does not have a lot of money, and I guarantee you he's happier than everyone standing within a 3,000-mile radius of me. Because this guy's understood that real happiness is not physicality. It's not fun. It's what the Torah tells us it is. It's adding meaning to your life. It's adding purpose. It's adding God to every moment, whether good, whether bad. Every point of life, every single second of your life can have purpose, or it could be meaningless. It's up to you to decide. It's not about the Torah telling you to do anything. It's not about worrying about the next world. It's about heaven and hell. Forget all that. You want to be a happier person? Bring God in your life. When you have a challenge, turn to God. Don't turn to having a good time. When you have something that feels really good and happy and you're all excited and you think it was you, tell God, I really appreciate hooking that up for me. Because at the end of the day, everything is God. You're trying to go out with a certain person, you're shidduchim, you're trying to find your spouse, you're chasing and it's so challenging. If you come to the realization that God is the one that's pulling all the strings, for the good, for the bad, he's running your life, and the only thing he wants from you, the only thing he's asking you is to bring him into your life just a little bit, just a few minutes a day, just a moment, just to add some spirituality, add some more meaning to your life, then I guarantee, B'ezrat Hashem, all of us will have a very, very happy life. Chazak Baruch.